Hi, I'm Paul from Find My Footwear, and today we're comparing two of Brooks' most popular off-road running shoes, the Caldera 8 and the new Cascadia 19. So first up, we're going to have a look at some of the stats of both shoes, and then we'll look at how they compare to one another, how they differ, and which one you should choose for your off-road running adventures for summer and into the autumn of 2025. So first up, let's have a look at some of the details around the Cascadia 19. So the weight of the new Cascadia 19 from Brooks is 10.7 ounces in the men's and 9.8 ounces in the women's shoe. That's 303 grams, 277. Only a fraction, 0.1 of an ounce heavier than the Caldera 8, which is 10.6 ounces in the men's and 9.3 ounces in the women's. So very similar, indistinguishable in fact on the feet in terms of weight. Stack heights, well, the Cascadia 19 has gained an additional 2mm of cushioning, and that's now up to 35mm in the heel, 29mm in the forefoot, and a 6mm drop. The Caldera 8, well, the Caldera is Brooks' max trail shoe, if you like. It's aimed at ultra distance runners on the trails, and that's around 38.5mm in the heel and 32.5mm in the forefoot. So again, a 6mm drop. So very similar in terms of the geometries. Yes, you do have a little bit more cushioning in the Caldera, but now the cushioning materials themselves are both using the DNA Loft V3 nitrogen infused foams. The Caldera has used that foam for the last 12 months. In the Cascadia, that's been upgraded in the 19 from a compression molded EVA based material, and it does transform the shoe, and it does make the shoe feel very similar to the Caldera, except although it is the same nitrogen infused foam, it does feel a lot softer in the Cascadia. Now, I'm wondering if that's because in the Caldera, with it being a little bit thicker, a little bit deeper stack, it's just a little bit denser, or if it's something to do with the outsole. Both outsoles appear to be very similar, or if it's purely just a reformulation, a tweak to the formulation of the nitrogen infused foam in the Cascadia. Anyway, it does feel a little bit softer on the foot. Okay, so comfort wise, I think the Cascadia can get a little confusing with these names. The Cascadia does feel a little bit softer. That said, when I put the original Caldera on with the nitrogen foam, I thought it was the nicest feeling off-road running shoe that I'd ever tried. The nitrogen foam is softer, is lighter, is springier, it's more responsive, and it's more durable than any compression molded EVA based materials. So it really does transform off-road running shoes, and we are beginning to see other brands using this type of foam in some of their shoes as well now. So this kind of new generation of trail running shoes, it's for the benefit of trail runners everywhere. They do feel much more runnable, much more comfortable. We're taking kind of road shoe cushioning levels to the trails, so that's only a good thing. The Cascadia features a lock plate. It's embedded within the shoe, and that's designed to stop sharp stones and rocks penetrating the cushioning and potentially bruising or injuring the soles of your feet. We don't have that in the Caldera, but again, with it being so thick, it's unlikely that rocks are going to penetrate that depth of midsole cushioning. Grip-wise, very similar pattern of grip. You can see it's practically the same pattern there. We have got this chevron design, this pointed arrowhead, if you like. Now on the front of the shoes, both shoes, it points forward. So when you're gripping, going ascending, gripping into the ground, it bites in, and it's a kind of reverse chevron in the heel. So when you're descending, going down, again, it grips, gives great traction. And with these flex groove spaces cut into the outsole rubber very similar on both shoes. It does allow the shoe to flex very easier. And I think there's more flexes on the Cascadia than there is on the Caldera. See, Caldera's got these pieces running across. That gives the Caldera a little bit more lateral stability, whereas in the Cascadia, you've got a bit more natural twist to it. So, you know, it's kind of horses for courses, very similar price shoes, and it is going to come to which one you think feels nicer and neater on the foot. The Cascadia feels a little bit more nimble. I think I'm able to run a little bit quicker in the Cascadia. The Caldera does, by comparison, feel a little bit more bulky. Both very similar in terms of the width of the shoe, the width of the footprint on the ground, and both feature a little nod towards stability, if you like. Brooks use the guide rail system. That's an extension of the midsole, comes up around the rear foot, and that kind of seats your heel into the shoe, creates a cradle, like an egg cup kind of design, if you like, and it keeps the foot seated in the centre of the shoe, keeps it nice and stable. Both neutral shoes, of course, so they're not for all the pronation correction, but they do keep you nice and stable, and they are probably two of the most stable off-road running shoes on the market. Uppers, well, they share, first of all, a nice feature that I like on a lot of trail shoes have this. Brooks do it particularly well with this elasticated tab midway down the lacing system. Tie your laces once, tuck them under there, absolutely fine, but never going to come undone. The uppers, we've got a refreshed upper on the Cascadia, more open mesh, more breathable, rubberized overlays, you can see around here on the lateral side as well. Reinforcement toe bumper heel for abrasion and protection. Same thing on the Caldera. Strong toe bumper and a kind of slightly closer knit, stronger mesh, I would say, on the Caldera. Maybe a little bit more durable, but there's not going to be a lot in it. Heel padding, there's enough on the Caldera. Nice kind of spongy tongue to it. Plenty of padding around the ankle collar and into the heel. Feels a little bit softer in the Cascadia, but otherwise very similar. Fit, true to size in terms of width and length. The Caldera tends to have, I think, a little bit more volume in the shoe in the upper, a bit more depth here. The Caldera is designed as Brooks' ultra distance off-road shoe, so if your feet are going to swell if you're running 2-3 hours on the trails or maybe more, then you're going to get a little bit more wiggle room, a little more breathability in the Caldera. But like I say, very similar shoes in terms of weight, stack heights, touch more cushioning in the Caldera. I don't think it's noticeable now. I think the Cascadia really has been elevated in this, the 19, the latest model. So for me, I think I would edge it with the new Cascadia. I think it just feels a little bit more nimble, and for me, I don't wear trail shoes all the time, but I do prefer softer, more flexible, more responsive trail shoes. So the Cascadia 19 edges it for me over the Caldera, but I think they will both continue to be very popular models from Brooks. Hope that's helpful to you. If you have any questions, stick them down below and I will always endeavour to answer them. But for now, that was the Brooks Caldera 8 and the Brooks Cascadia 19.